We're in the middle of a massive shift in AI. And no, I'm not just talking about slightly smarter chatbots. We're talking about the beginning of AI super teams. We are literally going from solo performers to a whole coordinated orchestra of intelligent agents. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what that means for everything.
This quote just nails it. It perfectly captures the new reality we're in. The whole era of, these casual, spaced-out AI releases, that's over. What we're seeing now is direct, head-to-head, continuous combat, and the pace is it's relentless.
So I want you to remember this date, February 5th, 2026, because that's the day everything really kicked into high gear. This wasn't just another product launch. It was the day the whole idea of autonomous AI agents jumped from theory and research papers into a real commercial product that you could actually use, and it basically ignited this fierce new chapter in the AI race.
Okay, so Section 1, the 2026 AI Showdown. What exactly happened to kick off this whole new era of what we're calling Agentic AI?
This timeline really tells the whole story. So back in late 2025, Anthropic puts out a major release. And crickets, pretty quiet reception. But then, fast forward to that February 5th date. In the morning, Anthropic launches their agent teams. And by the afternoon of the very same day, OpenAI comes back swinging with their own countermove. The speed of that response, that tells you everything. This isn't just about showing off new models anymore, it's a real-time strategic battle for dominance.
All right, Section 2, from tool to teammate. So this whole shift, it's about more than just technology. It's really conceptual. We are fundamentally changing how we think about AI from a passive tool to an active teammate.
And this, right here, is probably the best way to understand the difference. For the last few years, we've had assistive AI. Think of it like a power tool. You give it a very specific command, it gives you a result back. Super useful, but you're still the one doing all the thinking. Agentic AI, that's a whole different ballgame. The best analogy is a junior colleague. You give it a high-level goal, and it figures out the steps, it does the work, and then it comes back to you with the finished product.
So how does this junior colleague actually work its magic? Well, it's all about this three-step loop. First, it plans. It takes your big, complex objective and breaks it down into a series of smaller, strategic steps. Then it executes those steps. That could be anything from calling an API to writing code to analyzing data or even sending an email. And finally, and this is the absolute key, it iterates. It looks at the outcome of its actions, it learns from them, and it adjusts its approach. It's this continuous cycle that allows it to work autonomously.
And this is having a profound impact on how people actually work. A product lead at OpenAI pointed out that just a year ago, a developer might spend 90% of their time actually writing code and maybe 10% on high-level strategy. Well, now, that ratio is completely flipping on its head. The AI is handling the bulk of the coding, which frees up the human to spend 90% of their time on oversight, on architecture, on strategy. This isn't some far-off future. This is what's happening right now on the cutting edge.
Okay, Section 3, how agent teams collaborate. So once you have these individual AI agents that can think for themselves, what's the next logical step? Well, you get them to work together as a team. But that brings up a whole new, really critical challenge. How do you coordinate them? Right? Exactly. How do you stop a team of AIs from tripping over each other or, working against each other's goals? The answer is in these really cool strategies called orchestration patterns.
So the simplest pattern to understand is sequential. It's pretty much what it sounds like. You line up your agents one after another in a chain. Agent A does its part, then hands its finished work off to Agent B, who does their part, and then passes it to Agent C, and so on down the line.
The perfect way to picture this is a factory assembly line, right? Each station, or in this case, each AI agent, has one very specific job to do in a very strict order to build the final thing. It's predictable, it's reliable, and it's great for any kind of step-by-step process.
Now, the next pattern, concurrent, is basically the complete opposite. Instead of a single file line, you take the exact same task and you give it to a bunch of specialized agents all at the same time, and they just get to work in parallel.
This is just like a classic brainstorming session. You get your finance expert, your marketing guru, and your tech lead all in the same room. You give them all the same problem, and they each attack it from their unique perspective. The result? You get a much richer, way more comprehensive solution than any single one of them could have come up with alone.
And then things get really cool with the group chat pattern. Here, the agents are literally talking to each other in a shared conversation, and it's all coordinated by a manager agent. A really common and effective way to use this is something called the maker-checker loop. You have one agent, the maker, create something. Then you have another agent, the checker, whose only job is to review and critique the work. This back and forth forces the quality to get better and better with each loop.
Okay, Section 4, building your own AI team. So these orchestration patterns, they aren't just abstract ideas on a slide. Developers are using really powerful frameworks right now to build these AI teams. Let's take a quick look at some of the big ones.
So these four kind of represent the different philosophies out there. You got LangGraph, which is for developers who want to map out every single interaction like a detailed flowchart, total control. Then there's CrewAI, which is a bit more intuitive. You basically treat your AIs like employees, giving them job titles like senior researcher or marketing analyst. Anthropic's whole approach is really built for that concurrent, parallel task model we talked about. Just throw a team of specialists at a problem. And finally, you have OpenAI's Frontier platform, which is really designed for big companies, focusing on things like security, governance, and making sure these things are rock-solid reliable. All right, Section 5, the enterprise reality. So, we've talked about the how, now let's get to the why. Because in the business world, this isn't just a cool tech demo. It is a massive driver of real-world value and efficiency. The ROI companies are seeing is, honestly, it's kind of staggering.
I mean, just look at this number, 26,000. That's how many hours of human work a single AI agent helping out with procurement saved a company in 1 year. That's not a small improvement. That is a total transformation of an entire business function.
And it's not a one-off. Here's another one. IBM rolled out an internal agent to handle all the common HR questions and tasks. The result? They cut their HR operational costs by 40%. These are the kinds of numbers that make executives sit up and pay very close attention.
And this really gets to the core of it. That 26,000 hours saved, that didn't come from just automating one little task. It came from completely rethinking the entire end-to-end procurement workflow. The real revolution here isn't about automating mundane tasks. It's about fundamentally redesigning entire business processes with teams of AI agents at the center.
But, and this is a huge but, with all this incredible power comes some pretty serious risk. This report from Okta is, well, it's kind of shocking. While about 91% of companies are already using AI agents, a staggering 44%, that's almost half, are doing it with absolutely no governance, no rules, no oversight. They are essentially letting these incredibly powerful autonomous systems run wild inside their networks.
And this comment from a developer just nails it. The biggest hurdle to scaling AI in a big company isn't about making the models a little bit smarter. The real problem, the hard problem, is building the architecture and the rules, the governance, to make sure these agents work safely, securely, and predictably. So let's bring it all home. Section 6, your next digital coworker. What does all this actually mean for you, for me, for all of us? It means we are right on the edge of a fundamental change in how we work, and it's all centered around a brand new kind of colleague. If you take away only one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this. For our entire lives, technology has been a tool. It's a puppet, and we're the puppet master. That era is coming to an end. The future of your career, my career, it will be defined by how well we can coordinate with autonomous AI teammates. Your most valuable skill is shifting from operating the tool to orchestrating the team. The tools to build these teams, they're not science fiction. They exist right now. This isn't some distant future we're talking about. It's happening today. So the question really isn't if this is going to change your industry, it's when and how. So let me leave you with this. Will you be the one building and orchestrating these new digital workforces, or will you be the one being managed by them?